It is the first game of this 4-game window. It is against, for the first time in the Greg Berhalter era, a team out of Africa. It's against a team that is already qualified for the World Cup, that has high expectations in the World Cup. So it is a new test. We talked with Bobby Warshaw for a while about the U.S. national team yesterday, and one of the things I think both of us felt was excitement. That this one feels somewhat normal, a friendly heading into a World Cup, time to sort of work with the team, explore, experiment a little for Greg Berhalter. Michele, what's been your take on the vibe around the camp, either from your point of view or what you're seeing from the players and coaching staff, compared to what we saw in this World Cup qualifying stretch over the last year?
You know what? I've been covering this team since January 2018, so I've been at every camp, every get together of this team under Greg Berhalter, except the one they did in Europe during 2020, obviously, and we know the reason why I wasn't there, and that no one wasn't there. And I can tell you guys that this is the most. I don't want to say relaxed, but having gone through that grueling qualifier, having to wait mathematically until the last game to know that you were in Qatar. Now it's all about not relaxing, but, like having that feeling of having fun again, of experimenting new things, not having in the back of your mind that you got to win this game no matter what to get back to the World Cup. And between Monday and Tuesday that we had roundtables and interviews and one-on-ones with the players, last night with Greg himself, everybody's so excited to play a game finally out of CONCACAF and play a game against teams that are in two of the most biggest team in the whole world. Morocco, it's a great team, and it's very similar to what they're going to face against Iran in the World Cup. So it's going to be a great test to see how the team responds. And then Uruguay, which is one of the best teams in the world. If I'm not mistaken, they're top 12, top 10 in the FIFA World Rankings or something like that. But it's a big CONMEBOL team. And we've been dying to see that this team and these players, this core of players can do against, especially a South American team. So it's the players can't wait, and it's something that they've been stressing a lot in their time with the media these past 2 days.
13th for Uruguay in the FIFA rankings. Don't worry, Michele, I got you. Which is only 2 spots ahead of the U.S., which is 15th. And as you said, a new test, an interesting test, something finally different after everything that we've seen. Is there anything that you've seen non-soccer first before we dig into the soccer from this camp that's been different or unique or fun? I mean, we've got a lot of players here who just won trophies, who have gotten promoted, relegated, all these different things. What's it been like to see this group sort of back together after, for a lot of them, a long European season, for others, a heated MLS season where maybe they faced off against each other?
They're very excited. For example, players like that were a big part of the U.S. Youth national teams, like Haji Wright. Christian Pulisic was telling everyone yesterday that he's super excited, that back in the day, Haji was probably his best friend.
Nice.
Adams, he said yesterday that Weston is one of his best friends, so he's back. So he's super happy to have him back. I can tell you, I've seen in the team's hotel, guys are just having fun. There was a piano close to where the media attention was, and the players were playing the piano. I can tell you right now, Malik Tillman, he's unbelievable playing the piano. So that's a nugget for you. Jedi, Anthony Robinson is great on the piano. Also, even Tyler Adams. So the players are, again, I don't want to say relaxed, but just coming out of this, and I cannot stress enough because we as journalists, I know we don't play, but the traveling, the stress of having to qualify for the World Cup, and again having these two friendlies again, these top teams in the world, they're very excited.
Let's look at this team because we know the starting lineup, which by itself is already unique. I feel like Greg Berhalter pretty close to the vest with most of his decisions up until now. He has these friendlies and can sort of lay it out there. You tweeted it out. Matt Turner in goal, for anyone who didn't see. Back four with Reggie Cannon at right back, Walker Zimmerman partnering Aaron Long, and then Jedi at left back. Tyler Adams in midfield, along with Yunus Musa and the surprise Brenden Aaronson, and Timothy Weah at right midfield. Jesus Ferreira center forward, and then Pulisic on the left wing. First impression when you heard that of what this lineup means to you, and sort of what did you take away?
That it was something that probably we were all expecting, like against Morocco and against Uruguay. Greg was going to test, at least at the beginning and for the first half of each game. And I don't want to say, because I don't want to be disrespectful, please. And if any player that it's hearing this, I don't want to say it, but it's quote unquote the A team that we can expect from the USMNT. But I know it hurts some sensibilities when you talk about A team, B team, C team. But it is what it is. This is as close as an A team that we can expect, because what we're expecting as fans, media, when you are talking about an A team right now, it's the midfield with the MMA, with McKennie, Musa Adams, Christian, Tim Weah, and the number 9 that today and from a long time, I think it's right now, it's Jesus Ferreira jobs to lose. And now if Weston would have been available, and we're going to talk about him a little bit ahead, this is basically the closest that we think as we're going to see as an A team in the first game of the World Cup. So it's very what it was expected, what we're going to see today and against Uruguay, which is something that Greg talked about, that is going to be a difficult job between balancing what he needs to start doing, testing his main team and his main guys towards the World Cup and giving new guys opportunities.
So I want to start with the players who we don't think are locked into that best 11, who are part of this group. Let's start in goal with Matt Turner. We know sort of part of this conversation. We know he's headed to Arsenal. Zach Steffen has played for Greg Berhalter in the past, seems to be favored at that position, is not a starter at Manchester City, forced to withdraw from this camp. What is it that you're hearing and seeing for Matt Turner in terms of, can he win that spot in these 4 games? Can he win that spot in the next 2 weeks? What's sort of his target? What's his goals, you think?
I don't think so. And Greg was very emphatic yesterday that roster decisions and who's, especially in the goalkeeping positions, because he said that first we got to wait until August to see if maybe Zach Steffen can go on loan, maybe what Arsenal is going to do with Matt Turner. We had the opportunity to sit down with him yesterday, and he said that people in Arsenal made it very clear that he's going there as the backup to their starter, and it's his job to make it difficult for the starter and trying to win that job. So Greg didn't want to obviously commit to anything because it's very early, and he said it's not worth it because we don't know in August where are some of these players are going to be playing. But what it's concerning is Zach Steffen's health. Again, the back spasms. So what we know is that Matt is, as long as he's healthy, no matter if he's not playing an Arsenal, if Steffen is not healthy, he's going to be the number 1 choice. That's what we know for now. But again, it's way too early. And Greg was very emphatic about that yesterday.
So let's keep rolling forward on this team, because Reggie Cannon is the next one, where you mentioned Serginho Dest. He's hurt. He's been hurt a bit over the last year and a half. There's question marks at Barcelona, which I find interesting because they went from, well, he doesn't play at Barcelona and they don't like him, to now it sounds like they can make money off him and other people want him, but also Xavi likes him again when he's healthy. I think that conversation has gone in the same direction, but in different ways over the last 6 months that I find really fascinating. And so Reggie Cannon steps in as the starter here. Remember, he got COVID in the last window, so he wasn't able to step in for Yedlin when he got suspended or in place of Yedlin. Do you think Reggie Cannon is number 2 on this right back depth chart? What does this tell you?
I think he's fighting for a spot with DeAndre Yedlin, but in my mind, in my roster projection, right now, I don't see a clear left back backup to Robinson. So I think right now, Reggie Cannon is very up there with Yedlin to be one of those two, the starting right back if Des is not available. But in my roster projection towards Qatar, I think both Yedlin and Cannon are going to be there. And Des is also going to be there and used as an emergency left back, like we've seen through qualifiers and even before qualifier starting. So I think these 4-2 games are going to be very important for Reggie Cannon and for DeAndre Jetlin to see who can start establishing themselves as maybe the main starter as a right back or the immediate replacement of Sergio Dest. But I think those three right now have their place in the plane to Qatar for now.
What I find interesting is Reggie Cannon's spot in this team, though, because it feels like since he's gone to Boa Vista, he's dropped down the depth chart. But as a player, he should be exactly what Greg Berhalter wants. He probably brings more balance both ways than DeAndre Yedlin, but he's aggressive getting into the attack. He wants to commit into the attack, and he's probably a better 1v1 defender than everyone else on this depth chart. Yet, he hasn't performed great in a game with the national team. And I don't know if that's just the ceiling to his game is maybe not as high as a high international level, or it's comfort, or it's the fact that he's played a bunch of center back in a back five at Boa Vista and hasn't played right back as often. I think this could be a huge chance for him because in theory, he makes sense as a really good right back in Berhalter's system. Let's roll on to Long and Zimmerman. I've said it a lot on this show. I've said a lot on every show. I've talked to you about this, but you don't bring Aaron Long to camps when he's out with an Achilles injury if you really don't want him a part of your group. And to me, he is still the best ball-playing center back with experience in this group. You could talk to me about Chris Richards, and if he was healthy, I think he's in this camp, and I would love to see him play. You could talk about John Anthony Brooks as well, which he has not been called in and clearly is not a part of the group right now or potentially for the rest of this year and his career. But to me, this always made sense. And I think there was a chance, even without the injury to Robinson, that he was going to try and see how Aaron Long fit with those two as a partner. And now he's forced into it. But it feels like a natural pairing to me to put these two together. And what's your view on it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I told fans a long time ago, and it's something that it's a little bit frustrating sometimes because people get mad at me when I say, guys, don't expect John Brooks to be called. I've been saying this since October, and for now, I've been right. And fans get mad. They scream at you. You have an MLS agenda, blah, 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 blah. It's like, guys, with Greg Berhalter, he's always been super transparent. There's no gray area. And like you mentioned, what do you guys think was going to happen if he's calling, and you just mentioned, Aaron Long into camp to work with his group while he's injured? And while he's recovering from, so it shocks you that now that he's fully healthy, he's been playing really good, that he's not going to be here on this camp. And again, we know that Chris Richards is this highly touted talent since years ago. And that's him and Gio Reyna. It's not having them here. It sucks so bad because Richards, it's viewed as this potential center back number one and the main partner moving ahead with Walker Zimmerman, at least for the World Cup. But the second choice, not having Richards here, it's so obvious that it's going to be Aaron Long because before he's injured, we gotta remember Aaron Long was the first captain in Berhalter's era. He's played with Zimmerman before. They've played 8 games together as a center back pair. And we've talked about this a lot, and it sounds corny, but especially the center back position, you need chemistry. You need to have communications. You need to know your partner. And right now, given all of that, the best pair to put on the field, it's Walker Zimmerman and Aaron Long. And I don't know why fans get so frustrated and angry about this. It's obvious. It's something that it shouldn't be needed to be explained, but here we are.
Chris Richards' hamstring injury still out, so won't be a part of this group. I agree with everything you said, and I think it makes a ton of sense. It was clear that this was going to be the first option. It also could be really successful. Aaron Long is an athletic center back similar to Miles Robinson. He's good with the ball at his feet. He's confident with the ball at his feet, which I think alone adds a new element to this team. And it fits what Greg Berhalter has always built. In all the teams he's had all the center backs that he's gone out and gotten sort of the way he's tried to put this all together. Let's move into the midfield. Brenden Aaronson starting is the big storyline. You mentioned MMA. We know Musa. We know Adams are sort of locked in there. We have seen Aaronson at the international level play centrally, not for a while and not successfully. Do you have any reason to believe tonight will be different for him?
I'm very excited, and this is the part that I've been most excited about the possibilities of things that Greg is going to try in this camp. I've been a proponent, and I've been calling for something in the midfield for a long time, and I know our friend Sam Stachel, we've had this conversation a lot of times, and I think he's actually writing about that today in The Athletic, about flipping the midfield triangle, dropping Musa or McKennie to play alongside Adams to help on the build-up, and then having a 10 ahead of them. And that's why I was so bummed of not having Gio Reyna here, because we think Gio Reyna can fit that profile very well. And I think that's what we're going to see. Hopefully, we can see that today with Brenden Aaronson, having that freedom of movement as a number 10, and maybe even interchanging places with Christian at some point of the game. Maybe Christian can drop in and Brenden can go wide. So it's going to be interesting to see what Musa is going to do today. That's a player that I'm going to be watching closely, because depending of Musa's position and Musa's task on this game, we're going to see what Greg is going to try to do. I've talked with some players here in camp, and they said that the main thing that they want to get better, it's be better. And Greg also spoke about that yesterday on the press conference. They want to be better at ball possession, and they want to be better at controlling the game.
I like the idea of trying something new. I will say we got through qualifying. There's a few things that go through my mind when you say that. One is, I think the World Cup play will be so different than what qualifying was. It's not home sites. It's neutered venues with the same grass, the same facilities, the same setup. It is not as chaotic and unique as what CONCACAF is, which is why I don't know that CONCACAF World Cup qualifying is a good litmus test for what the World Cup will be in terms of the way the game's played. At the same time, it didn't feel like, as we've said, that Greg Berhalter had time to test stuff. So I like the idea of testing something here. I'm curious how it would work. You mentioned Gio Reyna. He obviously is the big one that you would think would fill that role. He's not a pure passer. Brenden Aaronson isn't a pure pick the game apart chance creator. He is more of a pressing 10, makes the right decision in the open field, is able to hit the gaps quickly, make that second run to score goals. And I don't know that anyone in the pool fits that mold perfectly. I also don't know that many people in world soccer nowadays do as well. You need that movement across the positions to create chances, unless you have a Lucas Zelarayan, who unfortunately found out he was Armenian and is no longer available to the U.S. Men's national team. Not that he ever was. So last question for you. I don't know if, I assume someone has asked. You mentioned Djordje Mihailovic injured. We're both pretty devastated about that. Why was no replacement called in?
Greg alluded to this, that he mentioned that he, on purpose, filled this roster with a lot of offensive players. And he said that now he has more time to give opportunities to guys like Malik Tillman. So they didn't want to bring another guy. So they want to give now more opportunities to Haji, to Malik, to which I was talking to somebody that knows him very well. And they told me that his comp, it's Gio Reyna. So that's exciting, about the opportunities to see where Malik can play on this team. Maybe we can see today, because Greg said that at the end of the day, he's putting out the best roster that he thinks it's the best team for this game. But we're going to see a lot of changes, because he said yesterday that the result at the end doesn't matter. Again, it's not World Cup qualifiers. You don't need to win these games. So probably we can see that Aaronson coming out at halftime and getting Malik to play as a guy on the midfield ahead of the double pivot. But then again, I don't want to be repetitive. We have to see starting what he's gonna do with Tyler and Musa in that triangle flip on the midfield. So yes, I think he said that he's covered on the offensive side, so he didn't want to call another guy, and it is what it is. That those are his words.